Hey, Facebook. This is Kimberly, Treacy, and
Hey, I'm Conor.
this is our Friday recap of our week. As mentioned before, we're doing these weekly. We are a husband and wife team that runs a website design and SEO company.
Give Kim a minute while she stalls. Kim has to find the button.
I'm like, I don't know. Uh-oh, I played it.
Well, don't play
Wait,
it.
no, I'm supposed to share it. Hold on just a second,
Hold
Facebook.
on, Facebook.
Hey, Dan, how are you? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay.
Click the button. Did you find it?
Hold on.
Jeez, I guess here.
Okay,
Did
so
you click it?
yeah, I think I did.
yeah.
I don't
There you
know.
go.
Oh, we lost our viewer. We lost our viewer. I don't blame him.
How about we don't do live right now? You figure it out.
No, we're
and
doing
then
live.
we stay
We're doing.
here. Is it done?
I don't know how to share. I don't know how to. You talk. You talk.
I have nothing to talk about. I had this conversation before we even started this. Kim asked me what I wanted to talk about, and I said, seriously, I have nothing to talk
Hey,
about.
I have a question.
Mm.
So as you guys know, if you're following my Facebook, I went out of town last weekend, and Conor and I worked side by side almost every single day, whether it's in business or it's just life in general. So what did you do while I was out of town?
Nothing.
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 Nothing. Did you go through your food list of different places that you eat?
I had
From a
Jimmy
bachelor?
John's. I had Pepper Jacks. Oh, and I went to Safari, so I went to Cigar Bar.
You did?
Yep.
Yeah, they're a good place. What did you find at Jimmy John's? Because it was pretty exciting what you found.
Yes, didn't know that Jimmy John's actually has the, it's a giant. So instead of your normal 8-inch sub, they actually do a 16-inch.
Mhm.
And that was kind of cool because that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then Pepper Jacks was the next day, double meat, and that took care of lunch and dinner also.
So the one thing that we always noticed, especially since we're around each other all the time, we have this debate. I don't know. I assume other married couples have this, but it's like, hey, what do you want for food? Hey, what do you want for lunch and dinner and all that jazz? But Conor has this list that he goes off of whenever I'm out of town. So it's like the bachelor list, which is very similar to what we have. But if I'm out of town for too long, he runs out of things on his list and then he calls me to be like, hey, what can I eat?
You order pizza and you have that for 2 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Done.
So real quick as a recap, we kind of started a little bit bumpy. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hey, Paul.
When we first started, but as mentioned, my name's Kimberly Treacy. This is Conor Treacy. We run a web design / SEO pay-per-click marketing company. We do not do all marketing. So just to give you a quick recap on that, we are very niched and we love to be niched. We've been running this gig for a little bit about 7 years. And so as we're like internally having conversations, we're trying to figure out how can we help people in general. What are you grinning at? I see your little grin.
I'm just waiting on you. I figured if I just stare at you like this, make you uncomfortable. Go ahead.
Stop, you're going to
Go
make me turn red
Keep
next.
going.
We try to figure out how we can help other, whether it's couples or business owners or just in general, see the journey that we're going through as husband and wife team, as well as kind of what we face and what we see. So I can go first. A couple of things that showed up this week, which show up pretty often, right? To be able to have a website design, you have to have a domain name. So that's classified as a URL for the web site to go to. And then you also have to have a service from a web hosting provider, right? And what we notice when people come to us is a lot of times the people that come, the businesses will be in bed with another agency or another designer. And those specific people will actually put all of the domain name information in their name and not in the client's name. And as you guys know, some relationships are going to end on good terms and other relationships are not going to end on good terms, right? So
Most do not.
Most do not. So what could happen is if a prospect comes to us and they had a really bad experience with another designer or a freelancer, or sometimes the companies the people just decide they don't want to do business anymore and they just shut down, and that business owner literally doesn't know where to go or how to get the specific details.
Well, even beyond that, a lot of times the owner of the company will tell one of the employees, go ahead and set up a website or go ahead and get a domain. They put everything in their name and they've got nothing when the employee leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what happens is sometimes we can do some investigation and get access for them. But we just say across the board, any small business, if you have a website and you have domain names, just put them in your name or have your designer put them in your name. They can actually register on your behalf. So as a designer, they can create an account for you, or they can actually just contact the places and say, hey, they're working for you. So there's a couple of little internal things. So one thing that you got to go into and investigate this week was Google domains.
Google domains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Google sells domains.
Well, people probably knew that.
Did they though?
I don't know. Did you guys know
Did you know that?
Did you know Google sells domains? I don't know.
Google sells domains. I think almost all the extensions. There's a handful of vanity ones, like the .pro and .professional and stuff like that. They're a little bit more expensive, but for the most part, like $12.
Yeah.
And what I liked on it was that the privacy protection, which basically stops all the spammers from calling you and people seeing your information, that was included for free.
Yeah.
And we faced just, last month we registered?
Yeah.
I think it was last month. We registered a new domain name for ourselves, and we didn't use the Privacy Protect. And for the next 7 days,
oh, it was ridiculous.
We had 4 to 10 calls per day.
And emails. We got like 15 to 20 emails a day.
Everybody just calling saying, we can build you a website, we can do this, we can do that. It was annoying. It was bad. So while I don't like the Privacy Protect features as such, I think it instills a little bit of extra confidence, especially if you're running an e-commerce store. Showing that information, it shows the consumer that you're willing to stand behind your word or your website.
Yeah.
But in the case of all the spam and crap, Privacy Protect. And one of the neat things you can do, you can run the initial registration, make that privacy protected, and then after 2 weeks, remove the protection. And you've already fallen off the brand new domain registered, let's get money from this guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of the companies offer the Whois privacy protection. Most places charge. Some places, there's one in particular, I'm not going to call them out here because last time I called anybody out, I got in trouble for it by Kim.
Yeah, we had a blank blanket.
Yeah. But they charge you for your domain name, and they charge nearly twice as much for privacy protection. Then they also charge for SSLs, and they also charge for everything else on top of it.
And they also, like, when you go to register anything, they try to upsell you to different tax softwares and a bunch of other things. So you guys will know who the company is, who the big, large company is that we're not going to say. Not going to say. Mainly because we don't want to have to take the video off, right?
So what else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, I want to talk about telemarketing and sales processes, because 'tis the season, if you guys have not already experienced it, that phone calls will start to come in. It's right about the spring time frame, so we're a little behind, like a month, but a lot of times this time of month, different agencies, specifically that's the area that we're in, that's the playground, they'll wind up doing telesales and trying to upsell people and try to sell different information. Prime example, you will wind up receiving phone calls more likely that people state that they're with Google when they actually are not with Google. If you're doing Google AdWords, this is the time that they will actually try to call you to see if they can edit or adjust the ads. Sometimes it might actually be Google that's wanting to do that. Other times it will just be a telemarketing company that noticed your ad on Google. And
beyond that, today I got an email alert from a buddy of mine. Somebody had called them asking them what their internet provider was. And it happened to be, it was going to be a scam. It didn't come up as a regular phone number, but the person asked, who's your provider? Do you use Cox? Now, from that, can they then start to reverse engineer things or find out passwords and things like that? Yeah, probably, possibly. But my buddy just said, well, that information is private, and the person actually hung up. So they did report the phone number to the FBI, but it's not just the telemarketer sales, but it's also the scam and all the other problems that go along with that.
Right. Because essentially all they need is access to one or two things. And unfortunately, a lot of times business owners just don't know. Usually they may not be the person that's paying the bill or may not be the person in charge of it. The transaction that happens the worst is when one employee leaves the company that was in charge of things, and then like either they don't replace that employee or a new employee comes in. How the companies know to call when they call, I have no idea. We try to be as polite as we can and just ask them to remove us from a list.
Kim tries to be polite as she can.
But here's the deal is if you get a robot call, you can press 9 or you could press 7 or star, and it'll actually remove you from their call list completely. A lot of people don't know that. I learned that.
I take my phone and I do that.
Yeah, he gets really
And
mad at people that call. This is why he doesn't answer the phone very often.
Hangs up or the robot thing goes away.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll have to deal with it.
So this week has been a pretty big week for you for Google, hasn't it?
This week's been a big week for Google, not Google itself, but Google personally. Grabbed a new phone, so grabbed the Google Pixel.
Did you want to show them again?
Yeah,
like this is the fancy phone with all the fingerprints on it. See all the fingerprints? See all the hey, I saw my reflection in the reflection.
Yeah, that's
like I saw that first. There I am.
Look, you can see the
I'm
rest
there.
of the office over there.
Yeah, right. So cool things. One, it has fingerprint recognition. What do you think about that?
I don't like that.
At first you didn't like it.
No, I
liked it.
No, I still don't like it. I don't like the idea of my fingerprint just floating around out there. And I know the government already has it. I've got a green card, so my fingerprints are out there and whatever. But
hey, Ashley, how are you? Are you still watching?
But the whole deal on the cell phone fingerprint stuff, take a piece of tape, you can bypass the thing anyway. So it's not really secure. PIN numbers are more secure, and then the patterns are definitely secure. Or more secure. There's nothing safe unless you have an iPhone and you're in San Bernardino and you were a terrorist. And then they can't get into your phone. But anyways, that's a different conversation.
Totally different conversation.
Different video. So,
but you actually enjoy the phone so far. Do you want to talk about a couple of things that you noticed with the phone?
Big thing on this particular phone was battery life. I mean, even right now, I'm just over 70%. I mean, it's almost middle to the end of the day. By this stage with my other phone, I'd be down into the 20-30% range.
Yeah.
So that's been a big thing. Cell phone connection, signal wise, it's all a lot better for me. But I could have gone with any of the phones, and we had a look at some of the cheaper ones and some of the ones that have been out 3 or 4 years. But the reason I went with this was that it is made by Google and it is going to be updated on a regular basis.
Right.
So that was my selling point on it. So far, so good. It's only been a day. My text messages did not transfer over, which is kind of annoying because I had some texts from over the years, some ammo to use against Kim for when she says, I never said
You didn't get to keep them.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But
really
I did get to keep my other phone, so I can still power that up and show my proof.
Let's just be honest. Like you always will have ammo. I get very over. What do you call it? What was the word you call it?
You overshare.
Well, yeah, I do that. I do that a lot. I overshare a lot. But then, like, if there's like some kind of banter, because that's how we have fun, we banter inside of the office and at home, then I'll like go all in. So if I, like we had like a couple weeks ago, it was an ink cartridge. We were trying to figure out what ink we needed to replace the printer. And Conor was like, oh, it's, yellow. It's yellow. And I was like, cyan.
So Kim retells a story that she's already told several times.
Did I already say this on the Facebook?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Well, and watch episode 1. It's really good. It's really, really good.
All of a sudden she remembers what episode it was now, too.
Well, we're on episode 3, which is really cool.
All right.
Okay, so
next.
a couple things.
Look at that. We're at like almost 15 minutes.
2 minutes was trying to get it going. So the thing I like about your phone, and I don't know if you guys know this with Google, but I think that's kind of cool. You can squeeze the phone, which it has to be a her because the Google Assistant's a her. Do they allow Google Assistant to be a he?
Yeah.
A he,
you can
she?
change the voice if you want it to be
British?
Mandarin. You can, yes, they have British voices in there.
You can be
too.
Russian and it'll yell at you all the time.
Yeah.
No offense to any Russians. It just sounds like you guys are yelling all the time.
Max is on here saying,
is Max on here? Hello,
Yeah.
Max. Have a shot of vodka for me. I don't know what accent that
the
was.
accent just kills it.
Okay, so a couple other things. One, we had a couple new prospects come online that did not want to pay for the Microsoft software fee to be able to create and generate content, and we got into like a creative conversation of how they could store their documents.
The Microsoft fee?
Yeah, like Microsoft Office fee, right? So you have to pay for a software. He
Oh,
doesn't
for
know
like-
this because
sorry.
we pay a software in
For
order to have
Word and
Microsoft
Excel.
Word and
Okay.
all that jazz.
Thank you.
Yes. So what I did was I actually told her about Google Docs. We use Google Docs a lot internally. We still use the other Microsoft products as well internally. Yeah, like the Microsoft Suite for business. But sometimes Google Docs can keep everything like streamlined and kind of in one place. And the main area why I gave this feedback for this particular person is we're actually doing a website design for her, and she's going to be writing the content, right? So natural, they're like, hey, do you want me to send just one Word doc with all of my content? Multiple different Word docs with the content. But the thing is like a lot of times when you're in the website design project, even if you're a business owner, you might have a couple revisions on the content of what you're trying to express. So we actually lead people to Google Docs because you can actually edit inside. You can have multiple different revisions, but she was able to give me permission to that specific document and folder so I can see what she's updated and what she's not, right?
And the other thing with Google Docs, you don't need a Google account to access.
Right.
So you can actually set it that if they type in this particular URL, then whoever has access to that URL can access
Correct.
the file. Dropbox does something very similar. The downside with Dropbox is the user has to download the file,
Yep.
edit the file, and then upload it back up. Whereas with Google Docs, everything is happening live, and that kind of freaked you out a little bit.
Yeah, like it was kind of funny. I actually felt like a little bit of a stalker because I could see her typing, and then I was like, oh, this kind of feels creepy. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? I was like, this kind of feels creepy because I'm watching her type her word, and then all of a sudden I would like know what word she was getting ready to type because I read the sentence. But anyway, the other thing about Dropbox.
And you just want to get in there and just.
I know, start like
over.
doing the TTT, I'm watching you type. The other thing too, we use Dropbox a lot. For images specifically, we recommend just creating a Dropbox and storing the stuff in there. Dropbox is a great, I mean, Google Docs offers for you to upload images too, but I like Dropbox for if you're doing, whether you have multiple different logos, different marketing materials, like if you need a logo, Ashley on here, she can help you. But you can actually store all of your different marketing stuff inside your Dropbox, inside of a folder. And then if you do a marketing campaign or TV, radio, whatever, having something created, you can actually just share that link and then have them pull the information. And then you just got to remember to remove people whenever you're done. So that's the downfall of Dropbox is you actually have to physically remove their link. Within Google, I'm pretty sure you can offer an expiration date, like after 30 days or 60 days.
You can do that in Dropbox too.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Ashley had asked about the paper, Dropbox paper. I haven't heard of it, so I don't know anything about that. I guess I know what I'm doing.
What
here in about 15
is
minutes.
Dropbox paper?
What is Dropbox paper?
Tell us what it is, Ashley.
Inform
Tell
us.
us. Like we like to learn. Tell us. So other people learn.
But
That's
yeah,
how it works.
the expirations on things have been, I mean, that's been critical. We've sent various different things to people that it needs to expire after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
There's also a website I've been using where it allows just a one-time access to something. So once they load it up in their browser, then it's done. Now, Snapchat supposedly was like that before, and then it turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, it was not.
So I still don't trust it for sending passwords. The best way is still using whatever software to allow the person to log in, let them regenerate their password themselves. But in a pinch, and this particular case was in a pinch, I needed to get a password to a client. They were able to then go in, use it, and then they changed the password. So, of course, I don't make passwords simple. So everything's got semicolons and square brackets.
Unless you use DynoPass.
And round brackets.
Which that's an episode 2. Check that one out.
I think we talked about DynoPass.
Did we talk about it in episode 1 too? Maybe. I don't know. It's so fun. The other thing too, whether you use Google Docs, whether you use Dropbox. Yeah, whether you use Google Docs, whether you use Dropbox, whatever you use, make sure that you go in and you clean up your files as you go. So like Dropbox has a free offering, and I forgot what the limitation is.
Hey, Brandon.
You can also, hey, Brandon, how are you? I wanted to give you a virtual hug. It's totally not stalkerish. Hopefully life's good. But you need to make sure you go in and you clean up the files that you're no longer using. So if you upload your images in Dropbox specifically, and it's for a website design, you've got like 40 images, right? If we pull the images from there, we're going to tell you to go in and clear that folder out. But some people actually forget about it. And then if you go over your limitations, so other people are sharing stuff with you, you'll go over and they'll actually send you a bill or they'll cut you off. And then if you ever have somebody on the other end that gets an error when they're trying to actually upload images, it could kind of be a pain in the ass.
Is there a reason why you're hanging off the edge of the screen?
I don't know. You want me to come in? Come in and give a hug?
No.
Come in and give a hug?
You can stay over
look,
there.
Ashley's doing notes for us.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
And I see that she has played with it and whatnot. So it is something we're going to have to experiment with, and I'll check back in for next week and see what's happening there.
That'd be fun.
I haven't heard of it, so I will find out.
So the last thing that I have to say about images specifically and documents, I know it's 20 minutes. I know. It gets really sensitive about time.
I really do.
Really
but I know
sensitive.
what it is you're going to talk about.
What am I going to talk about?
Compression.
Well, no, that way you could talk about that one.
Okay.
You like to talk about things that are compressed and
Sure.
smaller.
What
I was going to talk about was
we can just end the video. Go on.
No. So if you decide not to use Dropbox for your images and your content, right, and you decide not to use Google Docs to share the link, you opt to send them via email. You need to be very, very aware that when you put images inside your email and you send them, they get stored into your sent email file, right? And then if somebody like sends images to you, they get put into your inbox. And so what happens is a lot of people forget to either archive their emails or delete the emails that have the images. So like we had a client not that long ago that we did an email transfer for, and how much mail did they have from just like all their stuff?
Oh, initially it was somewhere around 8 gigs of emails.
Yeah, it was just so much that we were like, hey guys, you got to go in and try and clean this up a little bit, because what happens is we have a specific bill rate and we would have charged to move all that. And we knew looking at the number that there is like no way that they had that much email between all of them.
Well, even going the next step, I mean, we're using your notebook here.
Yep.
And
I'm horrible about it.
When was the last time you clicked empty trash can?
I do that weekly now.
Oh, very good.
But it took me a long time to get into that habit. Yeah, the recycle bins, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it took me a long, long time. And here's the other thing too, like I would store, this is like confession time. I would store everything on my actual desktop. And then I would wonder, why does my computer load so slow? And then Conor learned how to, he taught me how to tuck it into folders. But then I still rebelled against that system for a while.
Yeah, you don't put the folders on your desktop. You don't put the files on your desktop. If you do, all of that has to be processed as your computer starts up.
Yeah.
So put the folders off in your downloads folder, your My Documents folder, stuff where it's actually on the drive itself. So like E: or D: whatever. That way then it's not on your desktop. You can create a shortcut on the desktop. And that's going to be a small file, 60, 70 bytes or something like that. But yeah, putting up, we do the video editing stuff. We'll end up with a file of 800, 900 gigs. And then dumping that onto a desktop is not good.
It's not good. Because I'll be like, why did my computer all of a sudden shut down? It just does not like good files. So Ashley said, mylargefile.com. So you'll have to research that too.
I haven't used them. I've heard of, it was Megafile. But I'm thinking that might be getting confused with Mega Upload, which was a different conversation for a different time. But basically that dealt with hackings and so forth. But, oh, look at you. Aww. There you go.
Brandon. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, keep the desktop as clear as possible. It actually speeds up the boot process.
Yeah.
My computer boots in 20 seconds. Kim takes 15 minutes.
Well, no, it went down. So it's like anywhere 12? Between 2 to 3. Like it did get up there it was pretty bad for a while. And the crazy part about it is I don't have a bad laptop. It's just, again, it comes down to like end user behaviors and how are you storing things? How are you using things? So.
And the same thing, as you mentioned, with the emails and email trails. When you send an email to somebody and it's got the attachment, and then they send it back and it's still got the attachment, and then you're quoting it and sending it back, and your stuff adds up very, very quickly. And I delete temporary files all the time. Temporary files and cookies, I kill them on basically a weekly basis.
It actually flashed in my head. Something that we see a lot that happens is people will have an image and then a signature, and all their icons at the bottom will be images. And all of those are attachments, guys. So if you have 36 emails going back and forth, those attachments are sending each time back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that email is actually starting to grow. So just be very aware. Like if you have one of those clients that likes to print emails, I mean, I print emails to be able to track and put into the system. Just be very aware of that behavior as well. So a couple things in closing. What do you got going on this weekend?
This weekend, it's going to rain, I think, tonight. They said a chance of a thunderstorm. So it's 80 degrees or 86 or something like that right now. They said real feel outside is 102. I don't quite believe that, but it is warm out there.
In Omaha, Nebraska.
Most likely there'll be a storm, some rain. So I will go home and grab my cigar and grab my phone and play my golf game.
His new Google phone. He loves his new Google phone. That's cool. I have a massage this afternoon. It's a new thing I'm trying. I'm testing out getting a massage on Friday at the end of our work week to see how I rebound back. I actually traveled last weekend. So this weekend, I'm planning on diving into some housework and then just some woo-saw down in the backyard and have a good time. And then so we can come back Monday. We've got a lot of projects that we're launching next week. We did three launches.
3 website launches yesterday.
In 24 hours. So this guy's kind of tired.
My eyes have just about had it.
It's such a blast of a journey, but man, whenever they stack one on top of another, it can kind of be long hours, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Ashley mentioned check out a website for things to do in Omaha. The sad thing is nobody in Omaha actually updates something. There is that website to visit Omaha.
Do you know what we did in Omaha that's really cool?
Omaha.com, I think.
Which I doubt is on that list. We chased trains. That was a blast. We need to do that again.
The nice thing is you know where they're going because it's on a track.
I know. I don't know if you guys have ever chased trains, but that's a blast, man.
Well, yeah, it makes it. Yeah.
Anyway, side note, that might be episode 4. Like, that's a blast to just hop in the car and just chase a train. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you have specific questions about business, whether it's website design, whether it's marketing, or just in general, just about running a company, feel free to send us a ping. You can actually just comment below, and we'll pull it for episode 4. And then in the meantime.
Yeah, if you need logo stuff, Ashley's on here.
Yeah, she's good.
So she's got her contact information inside of this feed.
And if you need a network, contact Brandon. He's good at networking for businesses. Yep. He's good. All right, guys. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye now. Click the button.
I am.